Hey, this is Kevin Kelly. Get ready for the latest episode of the Stardom Cast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, a podcast which talks all things about the fantastic, amazing, and spectacular professional wrestling company that we all love so much called Stardom, and we do it in a positive, and what I like to think, fun manner. I'm your host for this monthly bonus episode. My name is Matt Turner, and folks, unfortunately, we will not be joined by Rob Goodwin for this look back at AphroditE, Saya Kamitani, and Utami Hayashishita. There are two championship runs with the Goddesses of Stardom Championships. Unfortunately, Rob, very, very busy man between going to Philadelphia, coming back from Philadelphia, recovering from Philadelphia. If that's not enough, plus all the fantastic content that he puts out on this podcast, he is in the process of moving and just could not schedule the time to get the homework done for this episode. So I figured I'd, hey, I've done a whole bunch of these retrospectives before. Why not do one more, right? So, and again, thanks to everybody for the fantastic support, the friends and family of the Stardom Cast that makes this episode and this podcast possible. Again, if you're new to this episode, or if you're new to this channel, if you're new to the Stardom Cast, first of all, welcome, and we thank you. We thank you for your new support or your continued support. What we used to do is we used to put these retrospectives up on Patreon, but because we've been doing so well over 1 million downloads on the Stardom Cast, we decided to do these retrospectives and put them on the weekly show. And we're going to try to get out one every 4 to 5 weeks, give or take, depending on the schedule. And we're also going to release one from the vault probably every 4 to 5 weeks as well. So more content out there. And again, it's just a thank you for the fantastic support that you have shown us, and greatly appreciate it. Okay, folks, first of all, before we get into this, I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't done one of these solos in a while. Hope everybody's having a great day today. I hope you're enjoying all the fantastic wrestling shows that are happening. We're just coming off a phenomenal all-star Grand Queendom from Stardom. We got the Marigold show just right around the corner. Hope you're all enjoying just the terrific wrestling that professional wrestling has given us. Even, I know it's on AEW podcast, but look at all the Stardom talent that's been on AEW. You know, we've been seeing Mina Shirakawa. She had a really good match with Anna Jay. Azumi had that match on Collision with Toni Storm that popped a big rating. So Stardom folks, they're all over the place. They're all over the place. So we hope you're enjoying wrestling. Hope you're enjoying life. I hope you're better today than you were yesterday. I hope you're better this week than you were last week. And I hope you're better this month than you were last month. All right, folks, without any further ado, let's get into a look back at the two championship runs from one of my favorite tag teams of all time, my second favorite tag team in Stardom history. Obviously, number one would be Io and Mayu as Thunder Rock. But AphroditE, my second favorite tag team in the history of Stardom. We're going to take a look back at the 7 matches that they had, that they would go for the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships. Between the two reigns, their first reign was 153 days. The second reign, which just ended not too long ago, at the hands of Crazy Star, was 119 days. My quick math skills would tell me that was a combined total of 272 days. I had a feeling had Utami not been going for the World of Stardom Championship, or had that phenomenal run with the World of Stardom Championship back in 2020 into 2021, and had Saya Kamitani not had that record-breaking, absolute must-see run with the Wonder of Stardom Championship back in beginning in 2021 and then ending in 2023, we probably would have seen a lot more with Utami and Saya Kamitani as AphroditE as far as tag team championship runs go. Also, I don't think anybody's going to really argue with me that Saya and Utami, this run that just ended, probably would have went a little bit longer had Utami Hayashishita not decided to leave Stardom to go to Marigold, or as we call it here on the podcast, Rossi Vice Wrestling. And I think it's really cool. It's a pretty well public knowledge that Utami told the brass at Bushi Road Stardom back in December that once her contract was up, she was going to be leaving to go to Rossi's new company. And they still decided to give him a little bit of a tag title run, which I thought was really cool. Basically just showed how they trusted Utami, making sure taking care of the belts, taking care of Saya, taking care of opponents. They had some pretty good matches in this run. Again, it was obviously very, very short. Wish it was longer. But regardless, we still got some really good matches out of it. And one thing I noticed, too, going back and doing a little bit of research, is both times AphroditE won the tag titles were vacant. Here we're going to get into the first match. Tag titles were vacant because of the COVID restrictions. Jamie Hayter and Bea Priestley were not able to come over. I believe they were stuck in England, could not make the trip over to Japan because, you know, the world was shut down. So the tag titles were vacant here. And then the tag titles were vacant back at the end of 2023 when Natsupoi got injured, and Natsupoi and Sarah Anu could not defend the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Champions, and then championship, and eventually was vacated into the match we'll talk about in a little bit, with AphroditE taking on Divine Kingdom. Boy, how awesome would a AphroditE versus Sayori Poi match look? That would have been something. I'll tell you that. That would have been terrific. A match that I, maybe a little fantasy book that one, maybe on a future bonus episode of the Stardom Cast. So, all right, folks, let's get into the very first match. There'll be 7 matches, and what I'll do is I will go and just go through the highlights. I will give my star rating, and then at the very end of the episode, I will rank these matches 7 to 1, which ones I liked from least to worst. But there was no bad matches in these 7 matches at all. So, okay, we get to our first title change. Again, the titles are vacant. We go to the summer of 2020, July 26th, Cinderella Summer in Tokyo, in the legendary Korakuen Hall, as AphroditE will take on the Tokyo Cyber Squad team of Jungle Kyona and Konami. We get really good wrestling and wrist lock exchanges with Jungle Kyona and Saya Kamitani. Jungle Kyona hits a double clothesline to both members of AphroditE, and it leads to a big dive to the floor onto the Korakuen Hall. Tokyo Cyber Squad, TCS, Tokyo Cyber Squad, there you go, Matt, takes apart Saya Kamitani's arm. Jungle and Saya exchange forearms back and forth. Jungle drops Saya Kamitani with the big forearm. Utami Hayashishita comes in for the save, takes out everybody with shoulder tackles and clotheslines. Really nice fire from the what will eventually be the future World of Stardom champion later on this year. Utami Hayashishita locking Jungle Kyona in a rear naked choke. And then we get lariat off with Utami Hayashishita and Jungle Kyona. Can you imagine if Jungle was able to stay healthy and then she stayed, didn't have the problems that she did where Bushiroad was able to stay in Stardom a little bit longer? And that Utami the Utami World of Stardom Championship run was phenomenal. Can you imagine Utami versus Jungle Kyona World of Stardom Championship match? I mean, Jungle had great matches going for the World of Stardom Championship against, so many great wrestlers, and then one of them, was the Mayu match. That was a terrific one. But man, that would have been great. Utami versus Jungle match. That would have been terrific. Tokyo Cyber Squad hit a powerbomb dropkick combination on Utami for a 2 count. Konami hits a head kick and follows up with a German suplex onto Utami. Utami's able to kick out of 2. Konami follows up with a huge buzzsaw kick for a 2 count and then locks in a triangle choke. Utami Hayashishita does the Rampage Jackson power bomb to get out of the triangle choke. Follows up with a German suplex. Her tag partner, Saya Kamitani, comes in with a running shooting star press. Remember when Saya used to do that? The running shooting star press? That was a thing of beauty. Utami Hayashishita follows up with a German suplex for a 2 count. And then the AphroditE team just absolutely blitzes the submission sniper, hitting a torture rack bomb, a magic killer, and then torture rack German suplex, putting away Konami at 14 minutes and 28 seconds. I had this one at the 4 stars mark. Really good match, and you also have to wonder what would have been like if this wasn't a COVID era and Korakuen Hall was jam-packed with 1,400 people. They would have been going nuts because that was a really, really solid match with really no lull in action. They got that all done in less than 15 minutes, and I liked how Tommy was able to build her comeback up. You have Jungle and Konami just blitzing her towards the end. Eventually, Sai and Jungle have a little brawl on the outside. Utami is able to weather the storm and then is able to hit Konami with a couple German suplexes. Saya Kamitani comes in for the Magic Killer, which is basically the ultimate downfall of one Konami, and then she's able to, Utami Hayashishita is able to do the deadlift German suplex onto Konami, and we do see AphroditE winning the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Championship. We fast forward about 3 months later to the Yokohama Budokan, Yokohama Cinderella, October 3rd, 2020, as AphroditE taking on the team of Mai Himi, representing Down Del Mundo, Maika and Himeka. Maika and Utami, big lockup to start, always put over a good lockup. Maika and Himeka then cut the ring off and build up some heat onto Saya Kamitani. Eventually, Saya is able to use the drop kicks in her explosive offense that builds towards the hot tag to Utami Hayashishita. Utami, the Red Queen, comes in and tackles for everybody. It's a tackle fest. Maika eventually slows down Utami Hayashishita by locking her into a double armbar. Then she follows that up with the Susanka to Utami. Himeka is able to, this is a really cool spot. Saya comes in for the save. However, Himeka stacks up both members of AphroditE to put them in the torture rack. I always like it when she does that. That's a really cool spot. Himeka locks Utami into a half crab. Then Utami is able to come back with a judo throw. Himeka and Utami, they have a lariat off, which we've seen them have so many times in their 5-star Grand Prix matches over, I think, they were in the finals of the 2020 5-star Grand Prix, but go back and watch their match from the 2022 5-star Grand Prix, which is lariat after lariat after lariat, which I thought was really, really cool. It's a really cool spot, like, who's going to go down first. In the immortal words of the late, great Gorilla Monsoon, it's the irresistible force meeting the immovable object. I always liked it when they did that. Mike and Himeka is able to hit a lariat sandwich to take Saya Kamitani out. Eventually, we do see a JP coaster onto the Golden Phoenix that scores them a 2 count. Maika hits a Uranagi on Saya Kamitani for a 2, and then she follows that up with a superplex. So a lot of big moves on the Saya Kamitani, basically showing the Saya Kamitani able to weather the storm throughout all this punishment from the bigger, stronger members of Down Del Mundo, and something we would see about a year or so later as we really get into the crux of Saya Kamitani's Wonder of Stardom Championship reign. Saya Kamitani is able to hit a dropkick and a moonsault onto Maika. Maika comes back with a Susanka for a 2 count. Utami comes in, clotheslines and lariats for everybody, setting up the Golden Phoenix for the standing shooting star press for a 2 count. And then eventually we do see Saya Kamitani hitting the Star Crusher onto Maika, and then Utami Hayashishita takes Himeka out with the German suplex. The Magic Killer onto Maika sets up Saya Kamitani for the Phoenix Splash at 22 minutes and 33 seconds for the 3 count as AphroditE get off to this tag around their V1 successful against the DDM team of Mai Himi. Again, 22 minutes, 33 seconds. I had this at 4.25 stars. We move on to a match I absolutely love. I've done this for alternate commentary. I've covered this match in the Momo Watanabe and Azumi Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Championship run. I added this on as a bonus. We go to November 14th, 2020, as we have a Queen's Quest Civil War as the Tag Team Champions of AphroditE, Utami Hayashishita, and Saya Kamitani taking on the winners of the 2020 Goddesses of Stardom Tag League, Momo Oz, Momo Watanabe, and Azumi. And folks, if you are on our Patreon, first of all, we thank you. Second of all, obviously, Azumi is a hot topic. There's a lot of really cool Azumi episodes that are on the Patreon. But I did do Momo Watanabe and Azumi, Momo Oz, I broke down and reviewed their entire run in the 2020 Goddesses of Stardom Tag League tournament. They won the tournament, and then a month later, they would go and have this match we're about to talk about. And I actually added that match on as a bonus because I enjoyed it so much. So, again, if you're part of our Patreon, thank you. If you're not, take a look. It doesn't cost anything to look, see what's on there. You can get this, I believe this episode and every weekly episode early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month. Quite a steal if you ask me, because we got a lot of really cool stuff on the Patreon, past, present, and future. Folks, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff coming up on the Patreon in May and June. Anywho, let's get to this match. Yes, Momo and Azumi do win the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Tournament, and they will challenge for the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Champions. We go to Korakuen Hall, again, November 14th, 2020. Momo Watanabe and Azumi taking on AphroditE. We get some great technical wrestling to start with Momo Watanabe and Utami. Eventually, they tag out, and then Saya Kamitani and Azumi, they pick up the poise. Boy, don't they ever. Eventually, we get some AphroditE teamwork onto Azumi. Utami, several body slams to Uzumi. Momo Watanabe with the save. And then we do see some fast teamwork on Saya Kamitani. And then we go from the teamwork onto Saya Kamitani. After the teamwork onto Saya Kamitani, we do see AphroditE making a comeback. And this is a really, really cool spot that I love it when AphroditE does it. AphroditE does the assisted double stomp onto Uzumi. Which, I mean, obviously Uzumi is the queen of the double stomp, but it's basically, if you've never seen it before, the opponent is laying on the ground, Saya Kamitani runs off the ropes, and then basically Utami launches Saya over her head, and Saya lands the double stomp. I thought that was really, really cool. Momo Watanabe comes in and hits basically several kicks to Utami. Momo, obviously the bruiser, of the Momo Oz team, and obviously Momo Watanabe is the leader of Queen's Quest, so she looks like an absolute killer, just taking out Utami with these brutal mid kicks and head kicks. Eventually, Utami fires back with forearms. Momo Watanabe hits a penalty kick to Saya Kamitani. Saya Kamitani is able to catch one of these penalty kicks and then locks Momo Watanabe in a half Boston Crab. Well, the match spills out to the floor. Eventually, the match goes back in the ring. The action goes back in the ring with Uzumi hitting a spike Hurricane Rana onto Saya Kamitani. Eventually, one Utami Hayashishita will come into the ring for the save her tag partner, because Utami Hayashishita is a phenomenal tag partner, hitting the torture rack bomb onto Uzumi. Eventually, Momo Oz starts building their comeback up, and they hit their signature head kick knee sandwich onto Saya Kamitani. Momo Watanabe then blocks Utami from making the save because Uzumi sets up Saya for the numero uno to Saya Kamitani. Really, really great spot there. We do see a double stomp to Utami Hayashishita from one Uzumi, and then Uzumi is able to transition the La Mystica into the armbar onto Utami Hayashishita. Utami is able to fire back, hitting lariats onto both Momo and to Utami, eventually, Momo and Utami. Utami's that good, she can lariat herself. Utami hits a lariat to Momo that Momo winds up taking a bump on the apron, almost taking her out for the match. We do see, basically, this then comes down to almost a one-on-one match with Utami Hayashishita and Uzumi. Utami is able to land an air raid crash onto Uzumi for a 2 count. Again, at this point, that lariat that Momo took to the apron pretty much takes her out for the match. After Uzumi kicks out a 2 count from the air raid crash, AphroditE hit the Magic Killer to Uzumi and then hits the deadlift. Utami fires back up and is able to take advantage of the Magic Killer with a deadlift German suplex onto the high-speed bomb girl for the 3 count. 23 minutes, 6 seconds. Folks, this is probably my top 10 favorite tag matches in the history of the company. This was great. 4 3/4 stars for me in Korakuen Hall. Again, you have, in my opinion, the greatest tag team that ever won the tag belts in Stardom. Momo Oz taking on one of the best tag teams this company's ever seen in AphroditE. And again, it is Queen's Quest versus Queen's Quest. It's really funny how this match starts with all handshakes. As soon as the bell rings, Momo's like, yeah, I don't care. Momo's just so brutally violent to both Saya and Utami, especially Utami Hayashishita. So, again, Momo, and this really 2020 was a year that, especially towards the end, there was a year that really Queen's Quest dominated, with Utami winning the 5-star Grand Prix, eventually defeating Mayu Iwatani to win the World of Stardom Championship, and then with Momo Oz winning the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Tournament. So they had a really, really good year, did the Queens. And if you have not seen this match, and again, I know we have a lot of new listeners to the Stardom Cast, a lot of new watchers to Stardom, and you enjoy really, really good tag team wrestling, again, this is one that you absolutely need to go out of your way to check out. Again, it's from Korakuen Hall, November the 14th, 2020. The main event, Momo Watanabe and Uzumi challenging Utami Hayashishita and Saya Kamitani. We stay in Korakuen Hall, but we move just about a month ahead. We go to the day after Christmas. We go to December 26, 2020, Stardom year-end climax, as the Oedo team of B. Priestley and Konami will then challenge AphroditE for the Tag Team Championships. Okay, match starts out with Konami and Utami Hayashishita with some really, really good chain wrestling. Konami uses her knees to build her offense up onto onto Utami Hayashishita basically doing the tie clinch knees into the solar plexus of Utami Hayashishita, who at this point is the World of Stardom Championship. Eventually, we get some tag outs. B. Priestley and Saya Kamitani start to speed things up. I always say B. Priestley is a very underrated wrestler in Stardom's history, and a lot of people didn't care for her World of Stardom Championship run because she's not Io, she's not Mayu, she's not Kairi, she's not Utami. But again, if you're a member of our Patreon, that's in the vault. I did go and do a B. Priestley World of Stardom Championship run review, and I gotta tell you, it's fantastic. There's some really good matches there. The Utami match, obviously the match she loses the championship to Mayu. The Momo match was excellent. So I think that B. Priestley is someone that's very, very underrated in the ring, and I think her time in Stardom is something that I think a lot of the Stardom fan base really needs to come around and appreciate, because she's fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, her exchanges with Saya here in the beginning part of this match are really good. I didn't realize just how fast and how precise B. Priestley is with her offense. I thought that was really, really good stuff. Eventually, though, it's a Oedo Tai match, and Oedo Tai's got a Oedo Tai. We get the Oedo Tai style brawl all over the building that, of course, the challengers get the better of. Eventually, B starts breaking down Saya's arm. We get some heat onto Saya Kamitani. Saya Kamitani is finally able to come back with that spin kick that she does and is able to get out of dodge. Hot tag to the World of Stardom champion in one Utami Hayashishita. Utami comes in, throwing clotheslines, throwing forearms, throwing shoulder tackles, just running over B. Priestley and Konami, and really trying to fire up the crowd as much as a COVID crowd can get fired up. Speaking of fired up, Konami is fired up because she fires back with kicks. B. Priestley is able to hit a German suplex and a Regal plex onto Utami Hayashishita for a 2 count. Utami is able to fire back with a German suplex of her own and then a big lariat. She's able to tag out to Saya Kamitani. Eventually, we get Saya Kamitani and Konami going back at it. Konami goes after Saya's injured arm that B. Priestley worked on earlier. Makes sense. B is trying to set up Konami up for the Triangle Lancer or the double wrist lock, anything like that, because Konami is going to target. She is the submission sniper, plays into her wheelhouse. So I do like how B. Priestley does set up Konami for success in this match by trying to injure Saya's arm, only for Konami to kind of pick up the pieces. So I really like the story they're telling as we get to the back 3/4 of this match. Are really good stuff. Saya uses her speed to counter some solid Oedo Tai tag work. Eventually, B misses a dive to the floor. Saya hits an apron moonsault to the floor. Haven't seen her do that much, and probably won't. As Saya is trying to go more with the groundwork, but Saya is so good she can do anything. Magic Killer onto Konami, and then Saya Kamitani follows up the Magic Killer with the Star Crusher for a 2 count. Eventually, Konami builds up her offense back up, going after Saya's arm. She locks in the Triangle Lancer onto Saya Kamitani. Oedo Tai blinds the ref. That leads B. Priestley chair shot to Saya Kamitani. Konami hits a buzz kick onto Saya Kamitani for a 2 count. Eventually, though, the buzz kick leads into Konami locking in the double wrist lock onto the Golden Phoenix, and eventually Saya Kamitani can't take the pain anymore and taps out at 16 minutes and 4 seconds as the Oedo Tai team of B. Priestley and Konami, I believe they're called the Black Widows now that I think about it, win the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Championships 4 1/4 stars in the main event of Stardom's year-end climax. Really, really good match. Really, really good show. This is also the show that had the MK sisters, Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid, taking on the team of Azumi and Riho. That was a really good match, and Rob and I did that one maybe about 2 months ago for an alternate commentary. Again, if you're on the Patreon, check her out. So that would end the first run of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Champions of AphroditE and Saya Kamitani. We would see AphroditE, of Utami Hayashishita and Saya Kamitani, known as AphroditE. We would see AphroditE have a fantastic run in 2022 Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Tournament. They would eventually go to the finals and lose to 7-Up, Yu, and Nanae Takahashi. And again, if you're on a Patreon, I did a complete review of AphroditE's 2022 Goddesses of Stardom Tag League run. It is fantastic. Great matches with Meltier. That final match with 7-Up was great. They had a really underrated match that not a lot of people talk about. against the team known as Karate Brave. It was Shuri and Tomoka Inaba. And I would love to see Tomoka and Azusa Inaba in the Stardom ring or a Marigold ring sometime soon, because those two sisters deserve to be on a bigger platform. So, again, if you're new to Stardom, definitely go check out AphroditE's run in the 2022 Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Tournament. If you're a fan of wrestling and really good wrestling, because they're terrific in that tournament. So, folks, we will then fast forward roughly around 3 years as the championships are vacant. As I mentioned at the start of the show, Saori Anou and Natsupoi, also known as Saoripoi, were the tag team champions. Natsupoi gets injured the final night of the 5-star Grand Prix in 2023. If you go back and watch that match he has with Tam Nakano, that you could see about 4 or 5 minutes in the match that Natsupoi is hurting. And she really guts through. The Murder Pixie really guts through to finish the match and the tournament. Is eventually, we find out about a week or so later that Natsupoi is injured. We don't know when she's going to come back. About 2 or 3 weeks later, we realize that she's going to be out for quite some time. We have to vacate the tag team championships. We do have Divine Kingdom. Micah and Megan Bayne win the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Tournament in 2023, defeating Crazy Star, Mai Sarah and Suzu Suzuki, who, as of this recording, the end of April 2024, are the current Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. So, Mike and Megan Bayne, usually when you win this tournament, you get to challenge for the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. They do make mention that they will be in the vacant slot to figure out who is going to be the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. Saya Kamitani and Utami Hayashishita did not compete in the tournament as they were both injured. Actually, they were both injured in the 5-star Grand Prix. Saya Kamitani got injured in match 1 against Tam Nakano, and Utami just had a myriad of injuries as we got to the back half of that tournament. She had, I believe, it was an injured neck or something like that. So Saya and Utami wind up coming back at a Korakuen Hall show about a month earlier. They do tell Mike and Megan Bayne, we will take you on the next pay-per-view, Nagoya Big Winter in Nagoya, obviously, on the 2nd of December, and the winners of this match will be crowned the new Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. Mike and Megan Bayne, they were wearing the belts. Again, if you're new to Stardom, if you don't remember this angle from about 5 months ago, they won the tournament, became the 2023 Goddess of Stardom tournament winners, but they were walking around with the belts, but they were never officially crowned. So if you ever see pictures of Mike and Megan Bayne with the belts, yes, they were wearing them. If you're wondering why it's not official, it's because it wasn't official. They were just, and they should have just said they're the tag team champs. It would, either way, it wouldn't have hurt anything to give Megan Bayne a championship run for all that she did for Stardom from the 7 or 8 months she was here, because she was fantastic. But regardless, the titles are vacant. Always seems like when the titles are vacant, AphroditE is the perfect team to slot in there. So, sorry about that. I get a drink of water for the working man, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say. Okay. Again, we go to Nagoya Big Winter, the 2nd of December, 2023, as the tag team champions are vacant, as we have AphroditE going up against Micah and Megan Bayne. AphroditE tries for a quick double team on Megan Bayne, but that does not work, as Megan Bayne is the biggest and strongest in this match. She overpowers both Saya and Utami. Megan slams both members of Aphrodite, and then Megan Bayne slams Micah onto both members of Aphrodite that are on the ground. Then Micah returns the favor. Micah then slams Megan Bayne onto both Saya and Utami for a 2 count. I always think that's a cool spot. Utami and Micah then trade shoulder tackles back and forth. Saya Kamitani finally is able to get the first advantage for Aphrodite, hitting a double Hurricane Rana onto Divine Kingdom. Both Mike and Megan Bayne retreat to the floor, but there's no safe spot in any arena when you're wrestling the Golden Phoenix, as Saya Kamitani hits a dive to the floor. Back in the ring, Micah is able to hit a snap power slam, the Buzz Sawyer style power slam, and a suplex onto Saya Kamitani for a 2 count. Micah and Megan Bayne have a forearm trade-off. Micah and Megan Bayne have a forearm trade-off with both Utami and Saya Kamitani. Eventually, though, Utami is able to fire up and drop everybody. She drops Megan Bayne with a torture rack drop for a 2 count. Megan fires back with a Samoan drop for a 2 count. We do get stereo Divine Kingdom power slams, that's a really cool spot. Megan then hits a spinning Uranagi slam onto the former World of Stardom champion. That scores them a 2 count. Eventually, Saya Kamitani comes in. She cleans house. That gives AphroditE the opening to hit their big tag team move, the Magic Killer. However, Megan Bayne blocks the Magic Killer. But then AphroditE is able to come back from the block Magic Killer with a double dropkick. Tommy hits an air raid crash for a 2 count onto Megan Bayne. Then we do see Saya and Utami starting to roll up, starting to fire up, getting a little bit of steam here, but they eventually get caught as we see double stereo power bombs from Divine Kingdom. Again, another really, really cool spot from Micah and Megan Bayne. Megan hits the leaping lariat to Utami Hayashishita for a 2 count. Then they go to set up and try to put away Utami Hayashishita with the Doomsday Clothesline, an ode to the late great Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom. What a rush. However, Saya Kamitani stops the Doomsday Clothesline by giving Megan Bayne a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. These two teams go back and forth. Eventually, Micah tries to hit the 360 Lariat to Saya Kamitani. She accidentally hits the 360 Lariat to Megan Bayne. Saya Kamitani drop kicks Micah to take her out of the ring, and then Utami quickly follows up the missed Lariat to Megan Bayne and is able to hit a beautiful German suplex onto Megan Bayne for the 3 count, 13 minutes, 8 seconds, 4.25 stars. And AphroditE are off to championship reign number 2. We quickly get our first challengers. That'll happen at the big show at the end of the year, just 27 days later. We go to Sumo Hall in Rikagokaganda, as Mayu Utami would say it. Let me try that again in my best Mayu Utami impression. Rikagokaganda, Sumo Hall, Dream Queendom, December 29th, 2023, as Utami said, maybe the final chapter in this long Queen's Quest versus Oedo Tai war, as Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora, known as XL, who had a phenomenal run in the 2023 Goddesses of Stardom tournament, they will be the first challengers to Utami Hayashishita and Saya Kamitani's run as the Goddesses of Stardom Tag Team Championship. If you do remember, back in May, I believe it was May of last year, or of this year, that we're talking about 2023, that Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest had that phenomenal must-see, last person in the ring must leave their unit cage match, which ultimately banished Saya Kamitani from Oedo Tai. Again, one of the best cage matches I've ever seen. Just so well done. So well done. Remember that scene where Tommy's just a bloody mess on top of the cage, and with Saya Kamitani basically helping Utami get the win there, or helping Utami escape the cage. Just great match, really, really emotional. And this is almost like that was the main course, and this match was the dessert. Really was, because the main players in that cage match were Utami and Saya Kamitani, and then Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe. Like, those are your 4 MVPs and 4 main players. You figured, hey, let's capitalize on that success that we had, 6-7 months ago, and let's have a great tag match. And boy, howdy, this was a great tag match. Early on in the match, Utami Hayashishita and Momo Watanabe, they have a forearm fest throwdown. Remember, 2 years earlier, Momo Watanabe defected and turned on the members of Queen's Quest. She was the former leader of this group, and then went with Oedo Tai. Obviously, at this, going into this match, Utami is the current leader of One Queen's Quest. So, yeah, there's a lot of bad blood there with Momo leaving Queen's Quest 2 years prior to go to the evil heel group that is Oedo Tai. So, Saya Kamitani is able to come in, hit a pair of drop kicks. She tries early on for her signature picture-perfect springboard plancha to the floor. However, Natsuko Tora throws the lunch crate at Saya Kamitani as she's springing off, which I thought the timing was really well there. This leads into the Oedo Tai brawl, because it's Oedo Tai, and Oedo Tai's got Oedo Tai. We got heat onto Utami. Utami tries to fight back with some forearms, but Momo Watanabe just puts her down with these brutal mid kicks. Saya Kamitani eventually comes in for the save with the double Hurricane Rana onto Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe. We get some great XL teamwork. This is a very easy story to tell, because you have the good guys, the baby faces and AphroditE, then you have the evil cheating heels in Momo and Tora. So there's a really good job them bringing the heat. They build the heat up. It looked like Aphrodite would start to build their shine back up, but eventually it would just be the bruising power of XL, of Momo and Tora, with a little bit of cheating, not in front of the ref, that eventually they start building the heat back up. I thought that was great. We get an inhumane driver to Saya Kamitani for a 2 count, and then we get a B driver and a pair of Samatos to the former Wonder of Stardom Championship for a 2 count. Former Wonder of Stardom champion, one Saya Kamitani. Natsuko Tora hits a leg drop and locks Utami into a front guillotine. Natsuko Tora hits a sliding D to Utami for a 2 count. Saya Kamitani is able to make her comeback with the top rope Hurricanrana, and then we do see the Aphrodite team start building up their comeback with Utami throwing forearms, Saya Kamitani hitting that beautiful pump kick. We get Utami tries for the hijack bomb. However, Momo Watanabe, again, the ref's not looking. Momo Watanabe misses Utami Hayashishita, which is weird because it's usually Tora that does it. So you didn't see it coming, which I thought was really, really cool. And again, perfectly well placed in this match. That leads to the assisted XL Spinebuster for a 2 count. Natsuko Tora then follows up the mist and the assisted Spinebuster with her phenomenal top rope swanton that scores them a 2.9. Eventually, Saya Kamitani comes in, rises up like a phoenix should, all fired up, hitting a spin kick to both members of XL. Saya finally hits that springboard plunger that she tried early on in the match. Always the genius psychology. You try for a big move early, the heels cheat, they take it away. You're in the crowd. You're like, I really wanted to see it, and then you bring it back, building towards the finish. Aphrodite hits the Magic Killer onto Tora, and then Utami follows that up with the stalling German suplex for a 2 count. Utami goes to put away Natsuko Tora with a hijack bomb, the same move that she used 3 years earlier to defeat Mayu Iwatani to win the World of Stardom Championship. She hits the hijack bomb. Momo Watanabe breaks up the hijack bomb. However, Aphrodite hit the German suplex dropkick combination, which was a really, really cool move. I like that. That puts down Momo Watanabe. Aphrodite, the tag champs, they have the challenges right where they want to. They decide, let's put the exclamation point on this feud with the Wedo tie. And at the same time, Saya Kamitani hits Momo Watanabe with the Star Crusher, and Utami Hayashishita hits Natsuko Tora with the Torture Rack Bomb. That puts down a Wedo tie for the 3 count. 4.5 stars. This one got done in 16 minutes and 22 seconds. A fantastic, fantastic tag match. Not overly, they didn't complicate things. They kept the story simple. They thought they would go left, and then they would go right on certain things, with Momo, with the mist, with Tora being able to get out of the hijack bomb, and they kind of just did all that cheating, enough cheating to kind of rile you up. Again, not in front of the referee. It's the genius of Tora and Momo Watanabe. Then eventually Saya and Utami hit their 2 of their finishers at the same down to put down a Wedo tie. Again, excellent, excellent match. 4.5 stars. Folks, we go to the final match. Match number 7 of this tag team run of Aphrodite. We go to March 30th, 2024. We go to the Sendai pit in Sendai as Aphrodite will be challenged by Mei Seira and Suzu Suzuki, and also known as Crazy Star. This match was supposed to happen back in January, but it was Suzu Suzuki who I believe fell ill and was unable to miss the weekend shows. Again, we live in a post-COVID world, so anytime anybody is sick, and then you have a locker room full of people and then an arena full of a couple hundred people, best is just to take the weekend off, and we'll reschedule it later because, again, you got to err on the side of caution. If you do remember, they did replace that match. I think it was like 24 hours notice with Utami Hayashishita and Saya Aphrodite against Mei Seira and Izumi. That match is really good. And if you haven't seen that match or haven't seen that match, since January, go back and watch it. I know it was in January. I forget the date of the show, and it wasn't on pay-per-view. It was just a Stardom World show. That match was terrific. Maybe the best non-pay-per-view match this company's had in its 13-year history. Just really, really good stuff. Again, highly recommend you go out of your way to go see it. Go and watch it. And this one as well. We get some great teamwork action on Utami to start. We have Suzu Suzuki, her high-paced offense onto Saya Kamitani, which I thought was good. Saya Kamitani halts a crazy star teamwork early on. Suzu then halts Aphrodite teamwork. So I thought that was really cool. Aphrodite tried to go for some tag team Aphrodite tried to go for some tag team work onto Crazy Star. Eventually, Suzu cuts it off, and then we see Crazy Star try to go for some tag work onto Utami, and then Saya cuts it off. So it's like really you're really negating things, and you're showing that both these teams are at equal playing ground, and that both these teams clearly need to use teamwork to get the advantage on the other. I thought that was really good because if you look who you have in this match, Suzu and Utami have both won the 5-star Grand Prix. Utami, former World of Stardom champion. Saya Kamitani, former Wonder of Stardom champion. May Sarah going to this match was the high-speed champion. So you got a lot of accolades. So I think it was really cool how early on we're trying to tell the story that the team that's going to get the advantage, at least the first advantage, is going to have to use teamwork, but the other team stops that other team from doing teamwork. I thought that was really, really cool and just establishes how great these teams are. We do get a double spear from Suzu Suzuki onto the tag champs. Saya is able to come back and explodes up with the big dropkick to Suzu Suzuki. May Sarah hits that beautiful running dropkick to Saya Kamitani and then locks in a modified Indian deathlock. Utami Hayashishita makes the save. Aphrodite hits the assisted double stomp onto the high-speed champion for a 2 count. Love that move. May escapes the Star Crusher with a roll-up for a 2 count and then is able to come back with the flipping neckbreaker. Utami Hayashishita and Suzu Suzuki have a forearm fest. Yes, please. I'll take that all day, every day. Real quick, I know I'm going to get off track here. They had back in 2023. They had it was Prominence. Suzu Suzuki, Kurumi Hiragi, and Risa Sera. They defended the Artists of Stardom Tag Team Champions. Like it was in Cork and Hall against Izumi, Saya Kamitani, and Utami Hayashishita. Definitely go and watch that match. That was terrific. One of the best Artist Stardom matches this company's ever seen. Really, really good stuff. The Suzu Utami stuff was the cream of the crop in that match, and that's what this match made me think of. We get a drive-by from Suzu Suzuki to Utami Hayashishita, and then Crazy Star, May, and Suzu Suzuki hit their version of Total Elimination onto Utami Hayashishita. Saya is able to hit the schoolboy suplex onto Suzu Suzuki. Haven't seen that much. I hope she brings that back because it's a great callback to her offense, especially in that Wonder of Stardom Championship run. The schoolboy suplex. Terrific. Crazy Star stereo super kicks to Aphrodite. Utami is able to take everybody out with the exception of her tag partner with some clotheslines. We get an air raid crash from the Red Queen to Suzu Suzuki. She follows that up with a torture rack bomb to the Crazy Girl for a 2 count. Utami Hayashishita goes for the hijack bomb. However, Suzu's able to slip out and hit a reverse Rana, spiking Utami onto her head for a 2 count. Crazy Star hits their signature lung blower German suplex combination. Suzu Suzuki follows that up by hitting the tequila shot onto Utami Hayashishita. The only reason why he got 2 because Saya Kamitani breaks up the pin. May Sarah hits a dive to Saya Kamitani. Suzu hits the back-to-back locomotion German suplexes to Utami Hayashishita for a 2 count. Eventually, with Saya Kamitani on the ground, on the floor, May Sarah and Suzu Suzuki hit a German suplex springboard dropkick combination to get the 3 count. Suzu getting the 3 count once again onto Utami Hayashishita at 18 minutes, 53 seconds, 4 3/4 stars. This match was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, with Utami leaving, we all knew that she was leaving to go to Marigold, also known as Rossi Vice Wrestling. We all knew what the results of this match were. However, it didn't take away just the great action that these 4 wrestlers, 2 teams had. This was terrific. And for Utami to really put over Suzu Suzuki in that closing stretch just really goes to show what a team player that Utami is, and to help Suzu Suzuki get her into the next level as Utami is on her way out. Another reason why I think Utami is going to be the cornerstone and the forever ace of one Marigold Wrestling. And depending on how long the contracts are at Marigold Wrestling, I think it has to be on the back of everybody's mind at Stardom to try to get the Red Queen back into Stardom. But obviously another story for another day. All right, folks, let's go through my top matches. Again, every match was great. The lowest star match I had was 4 stars. So all 7 of these matches were great. So we will go to number 7, B. Priestley and Konami. Number 6 was against Mike and Himeka. Number 5, Tokyo Cyber Squad, Konami and Jungle Fiona. Number 4, Megan Bayne and Utami Hayashishita. Number 3 was Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora. Number 2, taking the silver medal, Suzuki and Mei Seira. My favorite match from these 7 matches was Momo Oz, Momo Watanabe, and Azumi. And folks, real quick, I'll just go over through them again. Bea Priestley and Konami was number 7. Number 6, Maika and Himeka. Number 5 was Konami and Jungle Kiona. Number 4 was Megan Bayne and Utami Hayashishita. The bronze medal goes to Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora. Number 2, taking the silver, Suzuki and Mei Seira, Crazy Star. And number 1, Momo Oz, Momo Watanabe, and Azumi. So I just realized, looking at these notes, Momo Watanabe, she takes home the gold and the bronze. So look at that. Look at that. Again, she's Queen's Quest. She'll always be Queen's Quest. Even though when I did meet her at WrestleMania weekend, I did the Queen's Quest pose, and she's like, no, Queen's Quest. And I was like, come on, Momo. Queen's Quest, they need you back. And she's like, no, Queen's Quest is dead, which I thought was pretty funny. Super, super nice person. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. And again, thanks for bearing with me on this solo podcast. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Again, it's this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be trying to give you more and more content, not on the Patreon feed, but the weekly feed as well, just as a thank you for the phenomenal support that you have shown us. If you have not done so, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review and a comment. It really, really helps us out. Does not cost you anything other than just a few seconds of your time, and it really gets this podcast out to more and more wrestling fans, because that's what we're trying to do. That's the mission, folks, is we're trying to get this podcast and Stardom out to as many viewers as possible, because I think this podcast is slightly above average, but the Stardom Professional Wrestling Company is excellent. 7 out of 5 stars, if you ask me. Folks, questions, comments, let me know what you like for myself and Rob to do for a future retrospective. Let me know. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter is the best way to get a hold of me. You want to shoot me an email, perfectly fine as well. The StardomCast22@gmail.com is the best way to get a hold of me via email. And folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you, because like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast, because we're all together and everybody's different. Everybody's special.